Well, I think it's pretty exciting because in the same year that Augsburg is celebrating its 150th anniversary as a college or university, here in Mexico we're celebrating the 40th anniversary of Augsburg semester programs and short-term programs here in the country. Most people may not know this, but even before the Center for Global Education was officially founded in 1982, Augsburg started bringing students and short-term trip participants down to Mexico in 1979.
The first delegations came to Nicaragua in 1980, right after the first semester program in Mexico in 1979, when parents of some of the students that had participated in that program asked the director of the center back then, Joel Muggy, if he would take them to Nicaragua. And so we had delegations right after the triumph of the revolution in 1979 here. And the volume got to such a large amount, we got up to 36 delegations a year, at least 3 a month, that eventually a couple that had come on a trip in 1983, Harold and Louise Nielsen, put up the money to buy this house that we're in today in 1984. And when the house was opened up here, the first directors were Sarah and Jack Nelson Pallmeyer, who came down from Minneapolis, and back then the practice was hire people in the U.S. to work 2 years in one of our sites in Nicaragua. Now, I was the first person hired by the center who already lived in Nicaragua, so breaking with that tradition of hiring somebody in the States to come down, I was already living here, had been working with Marino in the rural area. And then after that, we hired another person, Kathleen McBride, who had been a North American, had been living and working here for many years. And since then, we've been hiring Nicaraguans. So today, most of our staff are Nicaraguans.
El primer contacto, me acuerdo que ellos nos encargaron unas estolas, pero no venían ellos aquí, sino que nosotros fuimos a la capital. Ellos también se interesaron por nuestra historia, la vida de las señoras, y ellos decían de que tenían grupos de estudiantes y si nosotros podemos compartir con ellos. Y en ese primer contacto vinieron los estudiantes aproximadamente en el año de 1991, y así se fue un compartir con ellos, como la vida de las mujeres, el problema que pasó por la guerra civil, que muchos, la mayoría de esposos de ellas, algunos fueron secuestrados, otros fueron asesinados, y así se comienza la plática. Entonces esos son los primeros contactos que hicimos en ese tiempo.
Before that, the Center for Global Education began to bring groups to Guatemala since 1985. When the first groups came to Guatemala was with the purpose of learning about the situation in Guatemala, since back at that time Guatemala went through an internal conflict, and the people wanted to learn the different ways of suffering from human rights violation, and also the right to life. So the people then who came to learn about the reality of life in Guatemala became so important, because in this way they learn that human rights needs to be respected. In order to be respected, they have to resist. And resistance has been a key behavior of life of indigenous people because they need to claim their rights and their right to live under human conditions.
I began working for the center back in 1997. Before me, there were other people. Mavis Anderson was the first person bringing groups to El Salvador. That was back in 1980. She was followed by Kevin Murray, and then Kevin Connors and Ann Badwell. In El Salvador, we had had the opportunity to work with different sectors of the Salvadorian society, with different NGOs, with political parties, with government institutions, but most importantly with different communities, such as Las Flores, Nueva Esperanza, Sitio Cenicero, Suchitoto. They had given us the opportunity to share with our students their history, their challenges, and their hopes.
We have been developing programs in Costa Rica since 2011 with an emphasis on social justice and community engagement. We have been working on customized programs that provide experience for students within a wide range of topics like migration, education, leadership, healthcare, environmental issues, among others. Also, part of our semester program takes place in Costa Rica, offering students an experience of cultural immersion that goes beyond the classroom. It includes 2 courses, one on liberation theology and another on citizen participations, where students are able to learn through the connections and long-term relations that the Center for Global Education has with rural communities, indigenous people, and civil society organizations that allow a deep analysis and comprehension of the Central American region and the challenges it faces today.
The Augsburg University established a Center for Global Education and Experience in Africa, based in Namibia. And what we do programs in 2 countries, South Africa and in Namibia. So in South Africa, we work with different communities, different cities. Some of the cities that you will visit are the city of Johannesburg, the city of Bloemfontein, Eastern Cape, Cape Town, and many others, including Durban. What we do with study abroad programs is that our students get a chance to learn the history, the apartheid history of Southern Africa while they're in South Africa. They also learn some of the key themes like the economic, political economy, racism, and they get a chance to visit one of the famous prisons where the icons of the liberation struggle were kept in Robben Island in Cape Town.
We were trying to do in the 80s public diplomacy, citizen diplomacy work. So in other words, trying to attract people who already have a reputation in their communities to come to Nicaragua, interact with the people here, and then the goal was to go back and to try to stop the wars that the U.S. was promoting in Central America at the time. Because of the kind of work we do, we've developed contacts and relationships with communities around the country and with organizations of all different types of background, health organizations, NGOs, government health organizations, education organizations, schools, communities, peasant communities, farming cooperatives. Also with the Winds of Peace work, we reach remote areas of the country where the center delegations usually do not go because of the distance implied. And we work very closely with coffee cooperatives, with rural women's organizations, And so in that sense, Augsburg has reached some very remote parts of the country because of the nature of the work we do.
And I was really pleasantly surprised to see how positive the overall perspective was, that they thought there was a positive impact on the community, that students were not only contributing their time and energy to local organizations when they were helping out in internships, but that also through their development of the relationships with host families and organizations and speakers, they became extended family. For many people, what the programs did is they put real faces and human voices and names on social issues that maybe they had been a little bit more detached from in the past. But now, because they know the people, they know the faces, they know the stories, they can't just read a newspaper or see a clip on the news about something happening in Mexico or Central America and see it as something distant. It's now something deeply connected to them because of the host families that they lived with and the friendships they made. They feel like this is my family that's being deported, or this is my family that is being affected by these different socioeconomic policies, etc. And so immigration and economic policies and all kinds of things have become very personal and real.
Hemos tenido la satisfacción de trabajar con CEMAL, con el grupo de Augsburg University, desde hace pues unos 35 años. La parte favorita nuestra siempre ha sido la enseñanza y ese es nuestro tema fuerte. Y al mismo tiempo lo que nos gusta mucho hacer es convivir con los estudiantes también, ¿sí? Y a través de nuestros profesores mostrarles la cultura general de nuestro país, mostrarles una cara más auténtica, más real de lo que otros programas u otras escuelas tienen aquí en Cuernavaca, por ejemplo.
I haven't seen in the people is that when I began to work, it was difficult to express themselves due to fear, mainly because if anyone will claim rights or claim a better life, then that was considered as a bad person, or not a good person. Because of that, then many people suffer a lot the lack of power or the lack of self-confidence because of fear. An example of this is the Widows Cooperative in the area of Quiché. From the beginning, the widows were not able to express their feelings, to express their ideas because of fear. But then through the presence of many groups and also the empowerment of groups, they little by little, they began to talk and began to express their feelings, their emotion, their ideas, their understanding of resistance and so on. So today I see the big change that they have made. They now they express more free and they feel more relaxed, and even they feel that satisfaction to be able to express, to get over their feeling, and now they feel more secure about themselves, and also they feel that they are being empowered. So this is one example of how people have been changed because of the presence of the Center for Global Education groups in those communities.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Olga Rodas y quiero felicitar a la Universidad Augsburg. Me causa mucho placer haber estado sirviéndoles a los estudiantes y a la universidad, y me ha impactado porque ha cambiado mi vida, porque todas las cosas que ellos traen las voy también asimilando, y yo las cosas de la cultura nuestra ellos también han llevado algo.
Mi nombre es Griselda de Villagrán, tengo 23 años de recibir estudiantes. Yo me siento muy feliz cuando tengo estudiantes porque me gusta que ellos aprendan nuestras culturas, aprendan nuestras comidas, todo lo que hay de nuestras comidas típicas, entonces que que a nosotros nos gusta y siempre queremos que los estudiantes se sientan como nuestra familia. No los recibimos como una persona más, sino como nuestra familia.
Pues pienso que ha ayudado mucho a las familias porque nos viene a ayudar económicamente. Entonces, les ayuda porque ya que principalmente a nosotros en estas fechas, pues como ven, inician las clases. Entonces es una gran ayuda para los fondos que quedan a la familia porque nos sirve, nos ayudan para que nuestros hijos entren a la escuela. Es un fondo que sí realmente lo necesitamos, ¿verdad?
In both programs, Augsburg and International House, we need to develop intercultural and multicultural skills, because it's not the same to read or to hear about other culture than actual interaction. That's very interesting because sometimes we have a lot of assumptions from other cultures. We do make assumptions, and well, then you have the actual interaction, you speak with another person from another culture, and well, you hear, you listen to the different perspectives, and well, you start to understand that it's not that easy. Like, I'm reading about another culture, I know about that culture now.
Estas experiencias de encuentro, después de todo, de pueblos y de personas, favorecen la interculturalidad, ¿verdad? La experiencia de ciudadanía. No es lo mismo, desgraciadamente, ser ciudadano del mundo en un sitio que en otro. Y eso vivenciado es mejor que analizado, ¿verdad? Suscita solidaridad, posibilita investigar la realidad de problemáticas concretas. Si la gente además es creyente o tiene una ética, una mística para su compromiso, le fortalece ver la necesidad de solidaridad que tenemos y de construir redes de participación y propuestas de experiencias alternativas, ¿verdad? A la lógica de exclusión, a la lógica dominante en todos los campos. Cualquier cosa que sea una experiencia, por pequeñita que sea, muestra que se puede ser contraste, ¿verdad? En un mundo dividido.
I always mention this, that empowerment is so important. How many people come to their homes and eat with them, sleep in their homes, and listen to their stories and see in their daily life. How many people are doing that? Not many, but those groups that are coming and staying with them, listen to their story, eating with them and working alongside with them.
Mi nombre es Noemí de Gutiérrez. Somos una familia anfitriona. Tenemos ya varios años de trabajar con este programa, alojando en nuestra casa a diferentes estudiantes de las universidades. Quiero contarles que para nosotros ha sido de mucha bendición el que los estudiantes vengan a casa para que vengan a aprender diferentes culturas, saber cómo nosotros los guatemaltecos vivimos. Podemos compartir con cada uno de ustedes nuestras riquezas, como son nuestras verduras, nuestra vida familiar. Nos ayudan también a conocer de las diferentes culturas de cada país. Así que muchas gracias, les agradezco por la oportunidad que me han dado. Que Dios los bendiga.
In vocation, in the sense of having a sense of purpose in life and sense of how you contribute to making the world a better place, we get in our evaluations from students and professors all the time that this encounter with people working for social change in developing countries like Nicaragua, El Salvador, Guatemala, etc., that are working for social change under tremendous odds, but that continue to be dedicated to that work, has greatly inspired their counterparts who come down from the United States and interact with them, and has given them, who oftentimes feel like the changes, the challenges are insurmountable, given them new energy and new dedication to work in their own areas to bring about social change. And in many of the students, the experience here has led them to change their majors and redirect their focus to something where they feel after this experience they can better contribute to making this world a better place.
Soy la cocinera de este centro. Tengo 7 años de estar en el centro y bueno, ha sido muy satisfactorio mi trabajo aquí durante los 7 años. He intercambiado bastante cosas con los estudiantes, pláticas importantes. Y me gusta el trabajo que hago y pienso que también la gente se ha quedado satisfecha como yo en el trabajo.
The Center for Global Education's program in Central America definitely had a defining impact on the life that I lead today, my life choices that I made. First of all, when I was in Central America, I developed a lot of really strong relationships and friendships. I learned so much. And when I finished the program, I wanted to continue learning more. So I got an organization that we visited in Nicaragua. I ended up getting an internship there called Cantera at a popular education organization. I did a semester-long internship at Cantera in Nicaragua, and then after that, I went on to work for CGE in Central America, and I worked for them for 2 years as an intern also. From there, I had a really deep commitment to social justice, and I wanted to come back to the U.S. and use my newfound Spanish skills and also continue working for social justice and working with Latino communities in the United States. So I decided to become a bilingual teacher, and I looked for a program at a teacher education program that focused on social justice, and I found a program at the University of San Francisco. So I moved to San Francisco. I got my bilingual teacher credential, and today I'm a bilingual teacher librarian in the San Francisco Unified School District.
I had always been kind of interested in issues around peace or justice or social change, that sort of thing, but they never really became real to me until I was able to go to Central America and experience these things through relationships with people, coming to know and love people that, were poor, were marginalized, were, victims of wars that the U.S. had promoted in the 80s and trade policies that continue to impoverish and marginalize people in the present. And so this really motivated me to go back to Central America. I went to El Salvador in 2006, and I started working with a solidarity organization, the Share Foundation, doing delegations for people very similar to what CGE does as well. And then also did a lot of work around the elections in 2009 in El Salvador, and then began work in a violence prevention program with at-risk youth in a marginal community of San Salvador. And I had always wanted to go to grad school, but kept kind of postponing it because I liked working and living in El Salvador so much. But at this point, I'm now in the hopefully the final year of a PhD program in sociology at the University of Pittsburgh, where I concentrate on studying social movements and especially the relationships between leftist social movements in El Salvador and Nicaragua and the leftist governments in these countries. And especially my practical sort of objective with this research is to figure out kind of insights for normal people, not just in Central America, but in the United States and all over the world in terms of how we can relate to governments, relate to political institutions in ways that can actually privilege and prioritize the needs and the interests and the agendas of normal people. and the sorts of changes that people all over the world need. And so definitely have to thank CGE and the experiences that they facilitated for me in terms of learning about these issues through the people of Central America.
CGE's program in Central America, through its many decades of work and deep roots to the region, has established itself as a pioneer in international education in Central America and beyond. My life has been impacted in so many ways since doing the program in Central America, and I think it all goes back to the long-standing connections the program had to the region and the connections I made with the people there. I left feeling that I could always step back into that time and that place, whether it was in communities of faith in El Salvador or coffee plantations in Nicaragua, as an American traveling to places where they were often the recipients of hostility from my own country. Time and time again, I was welcomed at a table to share a meal, as a guest, as a host brother, and as a friend. And I think that's what stayed with me the most.
A program through the Center for Global Education changed my life. I went there because I was studying international business. I wanted to help people through being a philanthropist. What I learned was way more valuable than I ever could imagine. People are people no matter where they call home, and relationships are really what's going to change the world.
If someone were to ask me to go to this program, what should they do and why should they? I would say that they should, because this program is not just about decolonizing your mind, but it's about building relationships and professional development. I have really found myself a good network to rely on to find future career opportunities here in Namibia. I'm very passionate about immigration, and after meeting this international organization migration at the UN, I learned so much about what I can do in changing policy, and I found a great group of mentors to help me get there. So this program not only helped me learn more about the history and the politics of Namibia, but it helped me learn about what I can do and my professional development in the future. So if you're interested in that, do it.
I can't say in words how much this program has helped me to grow, helped me to learn. I want experiences like this for everyone. It's been absolutely amazing to learn in a completely immersed way within Namibia and South Africa. We've done homestays, we've done lots of cross-country road trips, we've had classes that are not in the classroom every single day. I learned so much about the history here and how it relates to the US as well. It's really just such a special time to connect with people in a culture that is different yet so alike to your own, and to learn so much through that.
We look at the entire landscape as a classroom, and in particular, one of the things that I really enjoy is how we just bring books to life. You know, instead of like learning out of the book, we learn from the experiences of others, and we basically take the students what the student already is equipped with, and then have them learn in a way that is one-on-one, through a homestay environment, through interactive teaching methods, and of course through excursions throughout the country. And the best thing about it, when many of the students take what they've learned and they apply it when they get back, in hopes of carrying out the mission of social change, and that's what I like the best.
Encourage also people of color and African descent people to come to this program. It has really enhanced my knowledge on African countries like Namibia and South Africa, and I think it really helped me understand myself and my own identity and bring it back to America as well. And I hope that more students of color get the opportunity to study abroad, because it's so vital, and I hope that Augsburg in the next 150 years is going to promote more study abroad culture on our campuses for more students to benefit with this experience that I benefited from.
The program has changed a lot. Back to the theme of diversity, when I started working here, we had mostly white Minnesotans were our students, and now we have a very big diversity. We have Latino students, Asian students, African American students, Muslim students. So Augsburg has done a lot of efforts to make this a diverse student population, and so that's something that I think has been very, very good.
So as you can see through the Center for Global Education Experiences work in these developing countries, Augsburg has developed a huge network of contacts and resources from people in almost every conceivable section of these societies. And so the next stage for Augsburg is to find ways to use this wealth of contacts developed over 40 years in Mexico, Central America, and Namibia for the classrooms in Minneapolis. Up to now, these connections have been valuable for creating a national reputation for Augsburg for its international programs in our countries. But they all involve travel to the regions. But given the advances in communications technology, we can now provide those resources to classrooms on the Augsburg campus. And in the currently highly competitive market for higher education in the U.S., it seems a no-brainer to begin to make use of these connections to add to the uniqueness of an Augsburg education. And we have already begun to explore those possibilities. A very quick example, we connected John Sobich, the Associate Professor of Mathematics, Statistics, and Computer Science, to a coffee cooperative in Nicaragua in his calculus class using the GPS coordinates of their coffee farms and readily available data from NASA, calculated the carbon capturing capacity of their farms. So students learned calculus while applying it to a concrete situation in the real world that then helped those farmers promote their coffee. So the next step for Augsburg is to further explore integrating this wealth of international experience and contacts into the classroom.
We hope that in the future we will continue to grow here, both in terms of the number of short-term programs. We have composting dry toilets that help conserve water, so we're not spending as much water. We also have a rain captation system now that we developed with an ecological architect, and our plans for future construction of new classrooms and more space for rooms include plans for solar panels. And someday we hope to use our backyard that goes down the hill as a community garden that we can open up to poor families that live in this neighborhood of San Antone, and we could actually have an organic garden to produce food for our own students and the host families and others, as well as people who live here in the ravine.